Hey everybody, Al and Zach, League of Leaders. We're joined today by Justin Zinkovich. Justin is the head developmental program coach for the IMG Academy in Bradenton, Florida. He is in charge of scheduling as well for their baseball program, over 7 varsity programs, so a lot going on down at IMG Academy in regards to baseball. Justin, thanks a lot for coming on with us today.
Thank you guys so much for having us. Really excited to be a part of it, man. Thank you.
Awesome. We got a lot of questions lined up for you today in regards to baseball. We can't wait to pick your brain a little bit here. Justin, obviously, you've spent probably close to the last decade or so working in sports. You've worked with the Pittsburgh Pirates in their Florida operations department. You've spent some time coaching baseball at the collegiate and currently at the high school level now. So talk to us a little bit about your journey through sports, baseball in particular, and how you got involved, why you got involved coaching baseball.
So yeah, my journey, baseball has been part of my life since I could remember. My mom said I was born with a ball in my hand. I fell in love with the game at a really early age. So, obviously you get into Little League and, high school, and I found out at a young age, I was good enough to have a chance to play in college. Got to play at junior college at Manatee Community College, which is now the State College of Florida, and then played 2 years at Embry-Riddle, which is now a Division II school over in Daytona. After I was done playing, tried the pro ball route, figured out that I was not good enough to last, made it about 2 weeks playing indie ball and figured out I wasn't good enough. I got let go, and, I go home and it's like, well, what am I going to do now? And I knew I loved baseball. I knew it was something I wanted to continue in my life. So I went back and I finished my undergrad at St. Leo with a degree in sports business. And from there, the network and the connections that we had at St. Leo got me an internship with the Pirates. And so I got to work spring training with the Pirates, and then also do the Florida operations job with the high A team with the Bradenton Marauders. And that ended up being a part-time job for me for a couple years. And from there, I wanted to get into coaching. I wanted to get back into being on the field because I missed it. And my junior college coach, who I had kept a good relationship with, I reached out to him because he had lost his pitching coach. And I said, hey, are you looking for a guy? Just out of the blue. And we had a conversation. We went and had lunch one day with the other assistant coach, and he hired me kind of right on the spot. And I was 22, 23 years old, and I'm coaching, other 19 and 20-year-olds. So I got kind of thrown right into the fire. And, I had a great 2-year run there at State College of Florida. We went to two state tournaments, finished runner-up both years, just missing a chance to go to the JUCO World Series both years. And then again in the summer, as a junior college baseball coach, a low-level baseball coach, you got to hustle a little bit to make a little money on the side to pay the bills. So IMG Academy, which is right across the street, they do camps over the summers. And at the time they were doing a summer league. And one of our coaches had been doing the summer league over there for a long time, said, hey, they're looking for a guy. Reach out to their director. They just hired a new director. I got a job over there for the summer, and they were looking to hire full-time. They were expanding the program, and got really lucky, got in at the right time, and have been at IMG for the last 6 years now.
Well, that's fantastic, Justin. You were a young coach. You said 22 years old, coaching other 19 and 20-year-olds. So to earn that respect, it takes some personality skills to coach others. So, what are some strengths that you've seen in some of the top coaches you've worked with or spent time around to help you be a young coach and continue your career?
I was lucky at a young age to be around a lot of really, really smart, really dedicated and loving coaches that from Little League, travel ball, high school, even in the college as well. And the biggest thing that I learned, especially now the last couple years, is that kids don't really care how much you know until they know how much you care. And it took me a while to get that. When I was at a young age, I was like, if I just drill the X's and O's at them and work them hard, they're going to respect me. but at the end of the day, like, they want to build that relationship with you. And that's the thing that, being around the coaches that I've been around at the academy for the last 6 years, being around and having a close relationship with my head coach at the State College of Florida, it's really the greatest coaches. They build those relationships with their players. The X's and O's, that stuff ends up taking care of itself. But if you can build that trust with the player, that's the huge part. And then, knowing, the passion for the game, the knowledge of the game, those are just, intangibles that go along with it. But at the end of the day, the biggest thing I kind of live by nowadays is they don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And that's kind of the big thing that, my coaching mantra, how I kind of go about my day-to-day business is living off of that.
So I can always sense a passion from you when we talk, especially when we talk about coaching. But what in your mind is the most rewarding part of your job as a coach?
It used to be the wins and losses. I'll be honest with you. When I was young, I'm a competitor. I tell my kids all the time that, if I'm playing my 5 or 6 year old at ping pong, I want to beat them 21-0. Like that's how I always used to be. I still am that way. Don't get me wrong. But, nowadays, the things what I look for is making an impact, not only on the baseball field in a kid's life, but helping them, build life skills moving forward, because at some point your baseball career is going to end. Some guys are lucky enough it doesn't end till you're 40 years old, but most guys, you get around that 18 to 22-year-old range and, baseball ends and life starts. And, I've taken on the role within the academy of being our younger team coach. I coach all of our 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th graders. And I take a lot of pride in, obviously teaching them baseball, but also, within baseball, because baseball can teach you so many life skills and so many life lessons that, I've kind of morphed that role into how can I use this to teach them to be better human beings, to one day be a good husband, a good father, a good employee. And, I take a lot of pride. We have words of the day, phrases of the day. I give them little homework assignments, things to help them be good human beings, just be good dudes in life, to try to help them along the way.
That's awesome. Justin, coaching is obviously an incredibly challenging profession to get in, and it's tough for somebody to make a career out of it, especially as you move along higher up in the ranks. You have a little bit of college coaching experience. What kind of advice can you give to anybody if they're looking to maybe potentially coach at the collegiate level or even a little bit higher? What advice can you give them if they're looking to break into that industry?
To me, the biggest thing is you have to have a good network. You have to build relationships with people. You see, especially at the higher levels, the Division I levels, those Power 5 conferences, the SEC, the ACC, the Pac-10, there's coaching carousels all the time. There's guys leaving one school, going to another school, leaving this school, going to another school. And you kind of see the same faces kind of end up being with the same group of guys. And, obviously you have to have knowledge in the game. You've got to be really good, like we talked about earlier, at building relationships and keeping relationships with players. The recruiting part of it's really, really big. Being able to identify talent at a young age. You see a lot of these kids nowadays, 8th graders are committing to these D1 schools. And it's like, how can you really tell, what the kid's going to be like 4, 5, or 6 years from now when he does actually get into your program? But that's the landscape of, high-end college baseball right now. So you have to be able to identify talent. You have to be able to evaluate talent at a young age and kind of project. But then if you want to get in, you want to stay in, man, you got to be able to build relationships. Baseball is a small fraternity when you look at it. And, even some of the guys I met with the Pirates, a lot of those guys, started in college, went to pro ball. Some of them have gone back into college. And some of them are actually, we've had guys roll through the academy that I've known that have worked for the Pirates or other organizations. So it is it's a tight-knit group. At some point, we probably all know each other through one person or another. So building those relationships and having that network of friends you can, obviously talk to and confide in, and how those relationships are huge.
That's awesome. Justin, you shared a lot of great information with us today. We thank you certainly for taking time out of your busy schedule and coming on and chatting with us a little bit. We can hear the passion in your voice. We know you love what you do. Coaching is an incredibly rewarding profession to be in. You're doing great things down there at the IMG Academy in Bradenton, obviously, arguably one of the most prestigious athletic high schools in the country. We know you got your hands full with all those programs you're running down there, but making a difference in people's lives and young men's lives, and that's the important thing. A good coach can help shape a young person and change the entire path that they go on for their whole life. It's, Zach and I talked a lot about it, but it's similar to having a good boss and a good leader. They can really, really make a difference. So what you're doing with these young kids is awesome. So we thank you tremendously for coming on and chatting with us, and we look forward to talking to you soon.
No, I love what you guys are doing. Al, Zach, you guys are doing a great job. You guys keep doing what you're doing, because you guys are making a difference too. So thank you guys for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Justin. We certainly appreciate it.
All right, guys. Talk to you soon.
All right. Take care.